Okay, so probability combinations. We've got a rugby team plays 2 matches. They can either win, draw or lose each match. So W for win, D for draw or L for lose. List all the possible outcomes. So there are lots of ways you can do this. Some people just go systematically and think it through. So we'll start with a systematic way to start with. List all the outcomes. So on the first game you could win it, win the first one and win the second one. So this is the first and then the second. But actually if you won the first one, instead of winning the second one, you could have actually drew the second one. So that's different. And your other combination with if you won the first one, you could have actually lost the second one. So that's the first one, considering all the options for if you did win and then just changing the second options to different outcomes. So let's try a different option for number one then. Instead of winning the first match, you could have actually had a draw. So if you drawed the first match, you could win the second one. Or if you drawed the first one, you could draw the second one. If you draw the first one, you could lose the third one. So you can see it's in blocks of 3. Let's carry on. So that's winning the first. These are all for winning the first. These are all for drawing the first. I'm now going to look at all the options for, on the first option, losing this time. So all 3 options for losing. I could lose the first one but win the second one, lose the first one and lose the second one, or lose and draw. So that is just a bit of patience, bit of systematicness, and think through all your combinations. If you've watched the sample space video, you may be familiar with the second method. So if you put a little sample space together, you could have shown all the combinations in a sample space diagram. If you think about this side being match 1 and this side being match 2, you've got all your options. You've got winning, drawing, losing, winning, drawing, losing, and then the sample space diagram is easy to fill in using all those combinations. So you can see here would be the win and the win, win and the draw, win and the lose, draw and a win, draw and a draw, draw and a lose, lose and a win, lose and a draw, lose and a lose. So if that was a little bit quick, go back and watch the sample space videos. But this is just another way to show all the possible options. But some people prefer to be a bit more systematic and some people like it in a sample space diagram. So either way, if you just double check, you've got 3, 6, 9 options. If you did it that way, 3 pairs of 3. Or if you count up these options here, you can also see the 3 options as well. 3, 3 and a 3, so that's going to be 9 as well. Let's have a look at another question then. Slightly different this time. Marco visits a restaurant with his friends and we've got the menus. Marco chooses 1 starter, 1 main and 1 dessert. List all the possible outcomes. So we just have to be a little bit patient with it and just think about all of our different options. So always be systematic. I'm going to start with soup for the starter. So I could have a soup for the starter, curry for the main and ice cream. So I'm just going from the front row, soup, curry and then ice cream. I'm going to keep everything the same but then just change the dessert. So I could have had a soup, a curry, but then a Danish instead. So that's soup, curry, ice cream, soup, curry, dessert. So I've changed that around. So instead this time I'm going to stay with the soup for my starter to think about all the combinations. So I'm going to stay with the soup again, but this time instead of having curry, I could have had, I'm going to go down to the next one and be systematic and have pizza this time. So I'm going to pick ice cream for my dessert, but then I'm going to change it on the second one. So I'm going to have the same soup, same pizza, but instead of having the ice cream, I'm going to have the Danish. And I'm going to carry on. I'm sticking with my soup, but there's still a burger I could have had for the main. I'm going to go back to the ice cream first, and then I'm going to have the soup, the burger, and I'm going to change to the Danish. So I've had everything here with the soup option for the starter. So I've done all my soup startery ones. The only other thing I could do now, so that's that one done, is now consider what would happen if I pick fish instead. So if I change my starter to a fish, because that's the only other option, I could have a fish and go back to the start again and have fish with curry with ice cream. I could have fish with curry, but just change the dessert to a Danish. So you should be able to see if I put them side by side that actually it's everything I was doing before with the soup, but I've just changed it to fish. So I'm going to repeat everything I've just done. I'm staying with the fish. I'm then going to change to the pizza and have an ice cream. I'm staying with the fish, staying with the pizza, but I'm changing my dessert. Again, I'm going to change this time from the pizza to the burger. So I'm going to have the fish, the burger and the ice cream. Not going to lie, that would probably be my choice. And then final option, the fish, the burger and the Danish. So again, you can see you've got all the 6 for the second starter. So it's shown as a menu, list all the possible outcomes. And there you've got it, there are all the possible outcomes. There's nothing else to do. Make sure you're patient and systematic. If not, it's too easy to make a little mistake.